Welcome back. Data Analysis Module 6, Lesson 2, Solving Word Problems Based on Pie Charts. Calculators are allowed. Now that we have seen how pie charts can be used to represent data, we are going to learn how to use pie charts to solve simple word problems. Only one objective in this lesson: solve word problems based on pie charts. Again, always remember to first read the information given when tackling pie charts before jumping into answering the questions. Here we go. Let's look at question 1, students. The following pie chart shows the favorite CCAs chosen by a group of pupils. If the same number of pupils chose marching band and basketball, how many pupils chose swimming? Look at the pie chart. All the information is given over there. First, let's write all the information down systematically so that we can find out what fraction of the pupils chose marching band and basketball altogether. You need to find this information first so that you can move on to find the information that you require for the number of pupils for swimming. So step 1, what's the fraction for choir? Write that down. Step 1, choir is 1/6, right? And computer club, write that down as well. It's 10%, but 10% when you convert it to a fraction, you get 1/10. So write down as a fraction 1/10. And the last one is swimming. Swimming is 3/8. All right? Now, when you add all these figures up, you've got to add all these figures up, right? And then you realize that the common denominator is 120. So why don't you do me a favor and do yourself a favor and convert everything to a common denominator of 120. So when you convert 1/6 with a common denominator of 120, you realize that you get 20/120. Do the same for the rest. You get 20/120 there. You get 12/120 there. And for swimming, you get 45/120. Basically, the common denominator is 120, and then you convert accordingly. Now, you realize that you will get the fraction for marching band and basketball when you take the whole and you minus off these three fractions. So now, band and basketball, okay, you get one whole minus 20/120, which is the choir, minus 12/120, which is the computer club, minus 45/120, which is the swimming club. And the answer you get is 43/120. This represents the marching band and basketball. Now, you already know that the marching band has got 86 students, and the number of students in marching band and basketball are the same. So you can actually say 86 plus 86. So now we can move on to calculate how many pupils chose swimming, right? 43 out of a possible 120 units chose marching band and basketball, which is 86 plus 86, which is equals to 172. 86 plus 86, which is equals to 172. Now, if it is 43 units equals to 172, 1 unit is, do the math. What is that again? 172 over 43 is 4. That's right. So 1 unit is 4. What is 45 units? 45 units is represented for what? Which one? Swimming, right? So you get 4 times 45, and you get your final answer is 180. That's your final answer for this question. Moving on. Question 2. The following pie chart shows the amount of money collected by 4 classes for a school fundraiser. How much did class 6A collect? Look at the pie chart. The figures are all there. We can tell from the pie chart that class 6A and 6B together collected half the total amount of money collected by all the classes. So let's find out the total amount of money collected by all the classes. Look at the pie chart. There's a figure there, right? 1/4 of the pie chart seems to be equal to $450 based on the pie chart. Looking at the red column, 6C. So step 1, 1/4 equals to $450. I'm looking at 6C, by the way. Okay, so if 1/4 equals to 450, 4/4 would be $450 multiplied by 4, which is equals to $1,800. This is the total amount of money collected by all the classes. Now we can find how much class A collected, right? Step 2. You realize that 6A and 6B together have collected half the amount based on the pie chart again. So take the $1,800 divided by 2 and you get $900. You know that 6B collected $200. So to find 6A, you take $900 and you subtract $200 and the remainder is $700. That is what 6A collected, and that is your final answer. Moving on to question 3. Last question of this lesson. The following pie chart shows the type of fruits sold at a market stall on Monday. The stall sold the same number of peaches, mangoes, and plums that day. If the stall sold 800 fruits altogether on Monday, how many more apples did it sell than mangoes? We can tell from the pie chart that 1/4 or 25% of the fruits sold on Monday were oranges. So we can find out what percentage of the fruits were mangoes. Let's go ahead and do it and we can figure out how. So let's figure out step 1. Let's set it up. 100%. Which is one whole, right? Yes, 100%, you minus off apples, which is 45%, and you minus off oranges, which is 25%. What is the remainder you get? You get 30%. This 30% of the fruits is made up of mangoes, plums, and peaches. And they're all equal. They sold the same number of peaches, mangoes, and plums, which means mangoes equals to what? 30 divided by 3. Which is equals to 10%. Now, we can easily calculate how many mangoes and apples were sold on Monday. We need to do that first before we know the difference. Step 2. Total number of fruits sold on Monday were 800. So 100% or one whole equals to 800. If 100% equals to 800, what is 1%? 1% equals to 800. Divided by 100 equals to 8. So 1 unit is 8 or 1% is 8. Mangoes equals to 10%. So what is 10%? You take 8. Mangoes, you take 8. You multiply that by 10 and you get 80. For apples is 45%. So you take 8. Multiply it by 45 and you get what? 45 multiplied by 8 is 360. Now we move on to the last step. The last step is to find out how many more apples than mangoes were sold. Step 3. 360 apples minus 80 mangoes and you get the balance is 280. There were 280 more apples sold, and that is your final answer. Would you believe it, students? We are done with data analysis. This module is over. This lesson is over. We are done with data analysis for the year. Go ahead, attempt the quiz, keep track of your scores, and go score.